Right back with the MDX 3.7 with the oil consumption problem. As you can see, I've got my pistons all out and cleaned up. This one is, you can see the no piston rings on there. And it's just lightly coated with some fresh engine oil. All these little things you can see are just little fibers from my cloth. They just get wiped away and it's nice and clean. So you can see, cleaned up the top of the pistons and all of the piston ring grooves. And these are the actual drain back holes that you can see on the inside of the oil ring groove. And that's what drains back the oil that is wiped down the cylinder wall. I don't know if you can see that in there. There's the back side of the hole. As the piston comes down through the cylinder, there's the other ones. And then I'll show you a new oil ring. And again, this is the part number for your oil or your piston rings. And you need to order 6 of these when you order them. I ordered them at $42 each. So you'll have to buy 6 of those, not just one, even though it says it's a kit. So this is the inside of the oil ring. It's just like a little spring with a wire inside. It's got a gap right there. And then that goes to the inside of the oil ring. You can see it's got all these little perforations or holes through it. That's what allows the oil to come back through it as it's sliding down the cylinder, swiping away the oil on the cylinder wall. And then I'll show you the old ones and why your 3.7 liter Acura MDX with the 3.7 liter V6 uses oil. Because this ring becomes completely clogged with carbon. You can see it. I mean, you can't even see the perforations in the oil ring anymore. They're gone because it's completely plugged up with carbon. Now I suppose, you don't need to buy new piston rings. I'll bet the Acura dealer just goes ahead and tosses on new pistons and rings for time, because they don't want to pay a mechanic's hourly shop rate to clean the old piston rings and to clean the old pistons, because it's faster to just throw on new pistons to the connecting rod than it is to take the time to clean these. I went ahead and cleaned them up because I needed to inspect them for cracks or damage because of the valves hitting the piston faces when my timing belt broke. So not certain. I'm pretty sure this must have been one of the pistons that got smacked with the valve faces, because you can see those marks in there that did not come out when I cleaned these. But they're not cracked and they're not damaged or gouged from what I can see, just with the naked eye, of course. But again, just used some solvents and whatnot, some brass brushes, and I used a tiny little micro screwdriver to kind of go through and scrape out the carbon that is on the inside of these piston grooves. And let me tell you, it is in there like a rock, and my engine only has 109,000 miles on it and was only using maybe a quart of oil every 1,000 or 2,000 miles. And so it wasn't even really using a lot. In fact, it failed the dealership's oil consumption test. So I did not qualify to have the Acura dealership do the oil consumption repair, which would have given me new piston rings and pistons, and they could have done the timing belt at the same time. So I decided that since the heads had to come off to go to the machine shop to be fixed anyway, to go ahead and do the oil consumption repair myself. And I gotta say, it really wasn't that hard. I'll show you the heads. I've got those back from the machine shop now. As you can tell, I have a very small garage that I'm working in. So I went ahead and I cleaned up everything, valve covers, intake manifold runners. Please don't mind these dirty oil mats. Those are clearly used. So I went through and I scrubbed everything, especially the inside of all my intake manifold parts and valve covers, because everything was just completely caked in sludge and carbon. I mean, this nearly looks brand new. And this is the active secondary. I'm not sure exactly what this does. I'm not familiar enough with Honda's design of their V6s, but this is some sort of active secondary intake flow control. I guess when you stomp on it, it's going to open up these butterflies for more air to flow in. The outside edges were just completely caked in carbon. The edges down here where they meet, completely carboned up. I mean, it almost looked like it had a gasket around it, but it was just carbon. That's how much carbon buildup was on that. It was just dirt. But it looked like it had like a black gasket around it. It was so weird. Anyway, completely, yeah, I tried polishing that up a little bit with some real fine little whirly wheels, but I'll probably not continue to clean that up, nor the valve covers. So I'll show you the inside of the valve covers. Again, these were completely caked with sludge and dirt. Got those pretty clean on the inside. This one's still kind of drying a little bit. And then show you the intake plenum here. So you can see I ran through some throttle body cleaner, and I mean the inside of this was just filthy. In fact, I need to do just a little bit more there where the throttle body mates up. And I mean, just filthy. The EGR section here, filthy. Everything filthy. And again, it's not like my car was neglected. You know, it was a dealer serviced vehicle its entire life. Really until I, had it up to 100,000 miles and any warranties were gone and dealer service plans were gone. So it's not, oh, whoops, that's still kind of dirty there. Get that one all the way clean, shucks. So anyway, but you can see like these are the lower intake manifold plenums. Sorry, I'm just holding my iPhone in my hands, but that'll be where the fuel injectors go in for the port fuel injection. And then I'll just kind of clean up those gasket surfaces. And you can see this is the baffle inside the oil pan, completely cleaned up. This was completely just gunked with sludge and dirt and just crap. And then here's my oil pickup tube. I sprayed this out and cleaned it as good as I could, then ran some clean oil down through it quite a bit, almost like a whole quart, just to get any and all debris or cleaner out of there, so that when I put it back in, it's already got fresh engine oil going through it. not any solvent or anything. And then I'll show you my oil pan. Clean that up on the inside. Again, completely covered in sludge. And it's really starting to make me think that, you know, maybe, maybe Acura's oil that they're using or filters are maybe not the best, because for a dealer serviced vehicle, oil changed every 5,000 miles, every recommended service done. Now, the inside of this engine at 100,000 miles is completely crazy town dirty. I mean, it's just completely unbelievable how dirty the inside of this engine was. I scrubbed the shit out of this to get all of this completely clean. I mean, if I'm going to go this far to have the oil pan off, every single piece of the intake manifold off, I'm not putting this thing back together dirty. I'm putting it back together as clean as I can possibly get it. I'll show you the heads here at my little part cleaning station. So these are the heads after they came back from the machine shop. So we'll have to still adjust the valves before they go back on. I'll show you the valves that they replaced. I'm a little not quite sure what to think about the valves themselves. So they're clearly not Honda valves, because it's the new one there. They don't look like the Honda valves. So I ended up having to replace, well, the shop did, 12 out of the 24 valves. See, on this cylinder, those are all new valves. One new valve there, one new one there, one new one there. They did a really good job cleaning up the heads themselves, though. It was a real reputable cylinder head service shop in the area, machine shop. I don't know if you can see kind of down into the ports here. Let's see if I can get some more. There we go. I mean, you know, that's great. That looks new. That's really nice. They obviously must have done some sort of cleaning, thorough cleaning of everything. Set this back down. In case you're wondering, these heads are pretty heavy, even though they're basically all aluminum. So that was the rear head. You can see, I mean, looks great. And this is the front head. Didn't turn out nearly as clean on the valve train part here, so I'm sure it's fine, you know, but clearly the front cylinder head becomes much dirtier than the rear cylinder head. And I'm told that this is because of the EGR system. The EGR valve, basically the end of the line, is the front cylinder head. So if you're not changing your EGR valve or making sure that that system is clean, well, this one looks like it actually didn't need any valves. So they must have lucked out on that one. And again, that center cylinder on the other head and this one got all new valves. Then just one on this one. Looks like they did a pretty good job cleaning the combustion chambers. It's probably as clean as they're gonna get. Yeah, so the EGR system, oops, sorry, covered the camera port there. The EGR system, I guess making sure that you're changing that often, or I don't know. Not sure if there's really a service interval for that EGR system. I'm going to show you my injectors. I'm going to try and get those, the tips of those clean, just so they can go back in as clean as they can be before everything gets reassembled to the intake manifold. The way I clean my the intake plenum upper manifold part, I got this little Liebman, it must be some sort of dish brush, and this is flexible and bendable, and so it kind of just goes in around those curves. It worked pretty well. And this, in case you're wondering what this pan of stuff is, this is a Chem Dip carburetor cleaner from Berryman. Berryman, if you want to sponsor my video, that'd be great. Send me money. Haha, just kidding. And then this is the Berryman B12 spray. The spray is different than this stuff. This stuff can be seemingly just out. It doesn't cause too much odor. That stuff smells like brake cleaner, sort of. And my valve cover, bolts, you know, gonna pop some new grommets on those so that don't have any oil leaking problems. And yeah, I just wanted to try and get everything as clean as possible before going back in for reassembly. I don't know if you can see the, let me get my light down there so you can see the bottom side of the block and the connecting, or the crankshaft and whatnot. I'll edit this down for you guys. Okay, so here's the bottom side. I've just got a rag in there to keep that from dripping. That's where the oil pickup tube goes into the oil pump on the belt side of the engine. I did go ahead and actually take down my entire exhaust. I was lucky, and every single bolt where the catalytic converters front and rear connect to came out. I was really happy about that. And then the rest is just rubber hangers that you can just pop out. So rather than having my exhaust hanging in front of all my work I need to do here, because this has been a really time-consuming project for me. I don't get to work on it a lot at a time. So I knew that I wouldn't want this just in my way a lot. So I opted to just completely remove it. Might be a pain to put back up, I don't know. But anyway, see if I can get more of a close-up. I cleaned up the gasket surface real good. Almost looks new. So hopefully won't have any oil leaking problems from the pan. Of course, there's no pan gasket. You just have to use, you know, high quality RTV sealant. I think Honda Bond is the Honda brand or Honda item. Anyway,